This talk will cover some things IBM is doing to help improve the maturity of all teams using PagerDuty. I'm Craig Cook. I joined this team halfway through last year. As of January this year, I became the product owner of PagerDuty at IBM. I've been with the company for a little over 5 years, have a highly technical background, lots of systems administration, DevOps, SRE types of things. A shout out to the DevOps Days organizers around the world. I help organize Rally. I've been woken up by PagerDuty many times in my career. It is never fun. Over to you, Virginia.
Hi, everyone. I'm Virginia Lee. I'm a technical account manager on the professional services team here at PagerDuty. I've been partnering with IBM for about 4 to 5 years now. As a technical account manager, I work with our customers to understand what their goals are and help them develop PagerDuty plans and programs to help them achieve their goals. With that, I'll turn it back over to Craig.
IBM has some fantastic lawyers. I do not want to end up here again. What you're hearing today are my own opinions. I do not represent IBM. Some context about the organization I'm part of. About 6 years ago, a development team realized that as IBM was moving to an agile model, there were lots of squads starting up and doing similar development practices. We didn't have common tooling, and there was a lot of duplication of effort. They decided to try and bring in GitHub Enterprise and scale it to all of IBM as a service. We broke GitHub doing this and worked with them and built and scaled the system. It was a very successful model, and now we have more products in what's known as the Toolbox suite now. I represent the PagerDuty icon. Each icon has a product owner and an IBM team supporting them. For PagerDuty, there's 2 of us. And for most of the other tooling is on-premise, and there's larger teams. There are over 20,000 users, more than 3,000 teams, and 2 PagerDuty administrators. We split the account in half. I manage 10,000 people, and the other admin manages the other 10. No, I'm kidding. We work together on the entire account. We are heavily focused on self-service. Users onboard themselves using an internal tool called Access Hub. If you try to log into the IBM PagerDuty account and you don't already have an account, you're automatically redirected to an internal page giving you instructions on how to self-board. Through this process, accounts are automatically approved and created and provisioned. After a few weeks, the person's manager gets a continual business need request saying, does this person still need access to PagerDuty? If they don't respond, the account is deleted. We highly encourage teams to create and add themselves to teams and create things for themselves. I have a personal goal that you shouldn't need to contact me for anything. I don't want to become a bottleneck. Highly focused on decentralized administration. Giving teams permission to do their own policy updates and schedule updates makes it easier for us. We have roughly 2,000 people in our guild channel for PagerDuty, which is about 10% of our account. We have a wide range of challenges. Some people don't understand the basics. Things as simple as not having a phone number configured in their profile. PagerDuty knowledge is scattered. Some people are very advanced and some are just getting started. There's a wide range of advanced teams and beginner teams. Some teams get paged hundreds of incidents a day. Some teams get paged 1 incident a year. And some teams are all in on the advanced analytics and delving into the advanced features of PagerDuty and helping themselves. Some teams have no idea. There's a lack of adoption of best practices. Given the number of teams, there's a wide range of doing anything. And another huge challenge is the size of our account. 20,000 people, that's hard to communicate. We knew our challenges. What path could we take? What was it going to look like? What could we do? We needed a method for driving adoption and best practices at scale. We needed a feedback loop to be able to measure adoption. Virginia will explain what we did.
Thanks, Craig. After some in-depth conversations between myself as the technical account manager and with Craig's team, what we decided to do was to build a checklist. The checklist would contain things that we would expect teams to do or configure that would indicate how mature they are in PagerDuty. The idea was that if we could create a checklist or a framework for defining maturity, then we could build reports based off of that checklist to determine which items on the checklist teams are completing or not completing, and then use those reports to then be able to determine what the maturity level of entire teams were so that we could target specifically those teams that were lower in our maturity checklist to help increase and level up their maturity. I'm sure you all are interested in what's in this checklist, so I'll break it down for you. The checklist we built has 5 maturity levels, with some having IBM specific requirements. Level 1, or rather level 0, is the first level, which we called foundations. Level 0 captures the foundational building blocks needed for any team to start using PagerDuty. Things on this level include, does a team have a schedule, an escalation policy, a service? Have they triggered at least one test incident? All of this would indicate that a team has grasped the foundational understanding of PagerDuty and are ready to get started with using the system. The next level is level 1, which we call the basics. Level 1 is primarily focused on triggering critical incidents in PagerDuty and making sure that team members know how to respond to those incidents. Things on this level include, are team members receiving phone calls, text messages, or push notifications? Is a team using an email or an API integration to trigger their critical incidents? And are they consistently resolving their incidents and minimizing escalations? Level 2 is the next level, which we call the intermediate level. This is about aggregating and differentiating alerts in PagerDuty. Things on this level include whether a team is suppressing alerts, tagging their incidents as Sev1s or Sev2s, and triggering low urgency incidents to differentiate them from high urgent critical incidents. Level 3 is our advanced level. This is all about using PagerDuty more broadly for major incident communications. Things on this level include whether the team is sending stakeholder notifications, adding additional responders or team members to ongoing incidents, and conducting postmortems on their Sev1s and Sev2s. Finally, we've got level 4, which we called our operationally mature level. This level is all about reaching a level of operational maturity by continuously learning and improving from past incidents and strategically using data and analytics from your entire technology stack to make business or technical decisions. Things on this level include whether a team is utilizing all of the different types of reports and analytics available in PagerDuty today that can help them determine incident trends by their teams and their services. Once we built out our checklists, we decided that the next step would be to build reports on it. Working as the technical account manager for IBM, I leveraged our data team to build custom reports that allowed us to determine which checklist items teams were completing or not completing under each individual maturity level based on how they were using and configuring PagerDuty. We were then able to aggregate these reports so that we could build a broader report of all teams and to see whether or not they completed or did not complete an entire maturity level. Using this data, we were then able to take it a step further and actually count how many teams were at each level, level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3, and voila, we were able to develop a method for measuring adoption of PagerDuty at scale across 3,000 teams. Yay. Interestingly, when we checked the criteria of our checklist, we found that it was actually pretty accurate when comparing operational metrics for mature versus immature teams. For example, we found that Level 2 teams were significantly more mature than Level 1 teams, with a lower MTTA, a lower MTTR, and a stronger ability to manage noise by compressing their events to minimize the actual number of incidents that triggered from all of their events. We also found that Level 2 teams were more inclined than Level 1 teams to view analytics in PagerDuty and to learn from their past incidents. We also found that our checklists aligned quite well with how teams just naturally mature their PagerDuty usage over time. When we reached out to a team that we identified as highly mature, we confirmed that their PagerDuty maturity journey followed the path of our checklist. This team started at Level 1, which is all about triggering incidents for critical issues. They started using PagerDuty by triggering Sub-1 alerts from New Relic to notify an on-call engineer. Very basic use case. As a team started to send more alerts to PagerDuty, they progressed to Level 2, which is about aggregating all of your alerts from different systems and differentiating noise from actionable events. In addition to the Sub-1s, this team had low-level overnight alerts that were firing from New Relic that did not need to wake anybody up in the middle of the night. What they did was they created a rule in PagerDuty to suppress those alerts unless they repeated and fired multiple times within a short period of time. They also started integrating alerts outside of New Relic into PagerDuty so that they could get that single view of their alerts across their entire technology stack in one place. Then there became the need to notify stakeholders about their Sub-1 incidents. This is when they progressed to Level 3, which is about using PagerDuty for major incident response. This team uses Slackbot to automatically trigger a workflow from a Sub-1 incident in PagerDuty. This Slackbot gave them the ability to send status updates to stakeholders and to also notify additional teams in PagerDuty that needed to join in on an incident. At this point, they were able to coordinate a major incident and define a standard, consistent response process for managing their Sub-1s in PagerDuty. Finally, as a team matured over time, they began to develop a culture of continuous learning and improvement, which aligns with our last level, Level 4. Level 4 of our checklist is all about continuous learning and improvement. And at this stage, the team began using postmortems in PagerDuty to document their lessons learned from an incident. With these lessons learned, they were able to embed them into their New Relic alerts as runbooks so that when the alert fires again and triggers an incident in PagerDuty, the on-call engineer knows exactly what to do to resolve the alert to drive faster resolution. This team was using incident data and postmortems in PagerDuty to take those proactive steps to improve their runbooks, their incident response, and their operational maturity as a whole. Now that we had a method of measuring maturity at scale and had both qualitative and quantitative data that validated the checklist we built, we put in place some programs to begin driving maturity at scale. We started with a monthly newsletter, which promoted the checklist and included best practice tips that aligned with all of the items in our checklist. We paired those monthly newsletters with monthly webinars, which also covered best practice topics and tips that were part of our checklist. Because we were able to report on the maturity of teams, we were able to reach out to those more mature teams and document their success stories so that we could share them with other IBMers. And finally, we started email campaigns where we would reach out to the team managers of low mature teams and provide them with resources and education material to help them understand how they can level up their maturity. All of these programs rolled up to these two goals that we had, which were to get 40% of teams to complete level 0 within the first half of the year, and 90% of teams to complete both levels 0 and 1 by the end of the year. With that, I'll turn it back over to Craig so that he can share the results of these programs and what we learned.
Thanks, Virginia. We achieved our level 0 goal. Unfortunately, we missed our level 1 goal. Some of these metrics are also being skewed since we have a lot of inactive teams. We're in the process to create automation to identify and clean up these old teams. Some things that we learned on the way. Our webinars had good engagement, although the attendance was a little low. Newsletters and success stories were popular, had low views though. Individual emails had the best results. For one attempt, we cleaned up and resolved a lot of old incidents. Then we notified the owners and advised them how to improve their processes. Some teams did actually improve their processes after that. As teams reached a maturity level, we sent them a congratulations email, thanking them. We also included links to learn how to get to the next level. Any new teams, i.e. 2 or 3 weeks old, that hadn't reached level 0, we sent them an email and explained how to get to level 0. As you can see from this table, we did see some positive improvements from our email campaigns. Some other things that we learned, it was difficult to communicate with only 10% of our population on a Slack channel. It's difficult to get feedback from users on what method of communication works with them. Since there are only 2 administrators, we try and defer as much technical support to PagerDuty support themselves for non-IBM requests. Things like, I need my permission changed, or I need to become a team manager, or I'm creating this team and having issues, those types of requests we have to deal with. We also have to deal with some integrations where you need manager rights. Users do appreciate fast, real-time responses, even if it's something as simple as responding on a Slack channel with a URL to a web page with the answer to their question. When we reflected on our level 1 miss, we came up with a new idea. Why don't we try and build an internal PagerDuty champion community, or PagerDuty community using champions. This is an attempt to get more people involved to respond faster. Hopefully this would accelerate the maturity model and try and get more immediate feedback from the community. If I get invited back next year, this champion program might be a talk. Have you built an internal PagerDuty community in your company? Have you tried to adopt something like this maturity model? I'd be very interested to hear from you. Thanks.